Billy Graham's story is one of extraordinary faith, influence, and human frailty. Born on November 7, 1918, during the Spanish flu pandemic, he entered the world on a small dairy farm in North Carolina. His father, Frank, was a strict Presbyterian who showed little affection, while his mother, Moro, filled their days with scripture and prayer. The family worked endlessly to keep the farm running, and by the time Billy was 9, he was already milking cows and delivering bottles across town. But discipline alone couldn't contain his energy. Known as Billy the Kid, he caused mischief everywhere, shooting spitballs in church, pulling pranks at school, and driving his parents to desperation. When he was 6, federal agents raided the family farm, arresting his father for secretly running a moonshine still to make ends meet. The event left a deep scar on young Billy, teaching him both a lifelong fear of alcohol and a distrust of authority. His childhood was marked by hardship, but also by moments of profound spirituality. When his grandmother died in his arms, claiming to see Jesus and her late husband before she passed, Billy's fear of death and fascination with heaven began. As a teenager, he dreamed of becoming a baseball player, but his grades were poor and his pranks constant. After being forced to repeat his senior year, his athletic ambitions vanished. He enrolled in Bob Jones University in 1936, where the strict rules nearly destroyed his faith. The founder told him he'd never make it as a preacher. Billy left after one semester, later calling it the darkest time of his spiritual life. While studying at the Florida Bible Institute, he sold Fuller brushes door to door to pay tuition, learning how to connect with people, a skill that would later define his ministry. In 1941, he met Ruth Bell, the daughter of Presbyterian missionaries, and fell deeply in love. Despite her father's disapproval, Billy's persistence eventually won her heart, and they married in 1943. That same year, he joined Youth for Christ, beginning his journey as a preacher. His early efforts were humble. His first big event drew only 40 soldiers, but his fiery speaking style quickly caught attention. In 1948, after hearing that other ministers were being blackmailed through planted scandals, he and his team drafted the Modesto Manifesto, vowing never to be alone with a woman who wasn't his wife and to keep all finances transparent. That same year in Augusta, Georgia, he refused to preach in a segregated venue and personally tore down the ropes dividing white and black attendees. Despite threats from the Ku Klux Klan, he stood firm and hired black officers for protection, defying Southern norms. His career exploded in 1949 during the Los Angeles Crusade. What began as a 3-week revival under a circus tent became an 8-week phenomenon after media tycoon William Randolph Hearst sent his editors a 2-word telegram: Puff Graham. Crowds doubled overnight, mobsters and celebrities came to watch, and FBI agents monitored the events. Behind the scenes, Billy wrestled with doubt after his friend Charles Templeton renounced Christianity. Alone one night in the mountains, he knelt beside a tree stump and declared his faith anew, choosing belief over proof. The next night, thousands came forward during his sermon. By 1950, Graham had founded the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, insisting on strict financial oversight. Within months, donations reached $100,000 a month, and his radio show, The Hour of Decision, began reaching millions worldwide. In 1953, his London crusade drew 2 million people over 12 weeks, earning him royal invitations and bomb threats alike. By 1957, at Madison Square Garden, he again refused to segregate audiences, cutting down ropes himself hours before opening night. Martin Luther King Jr. later joined him on stage, marking a powerful moment in the civil rights era. Despite public triumphs, his private life suffered. He missed the birth of his first daughter and didn't recognize her at the airport 2 years later. His wife Ruth raised 5 children largely alone while he traveled the world, often gone more than 200 days a year. She once sent him a telegram begging him to come home, confessing she felt like a widow. Graham later admitted he missed 70% of his children's early years and regretted it deeply. By the 1960s, his influence reached political and global heights. He became a spiritual advisor to U.S. presidents from Truman to Obama, though his closeness to power came at a heavy price. He encouraged Eisenhower's public baptism, supported Nixon's campaign, and even suggested bombing North Vietnam's dikes during the war, a move experts later said would have killed 1 million civilians. When the Watergate scandal broke, He defended Nixon until the tapes revealed the truth. The betrayal crushed him. He wept for days and nearly took his own life in despair. In 1972, more tapes surfaced revealing anti-Semitic remarks, where he agreed with Nixon that Jews controlled the media. When the recordings became public in 2002, Graham issued multiple apologies and met with Holocaust survivors, but the damage was lasting. 40% of his supporters turned away, and his reputation as a model of tolerance was permanently stained. Despite controversies, he continued to preach globally. He refused to speak in apartheid South Africa unless audiences were integrated, embraced AIDS patients in San Francisco despite backlash, and rejected multimillion-dollar deals to protect his ministry's integrity. Yet his health was failing. By the late 1980s, he suffered from Parkinson's and lung issues, sometimes collapsing after sermons but insisting on finishing. Ruth endured her own suffering, raising their family mostly alone. She confessed to considering divorce twice, saying she felt married to a man who belonged to the world. Their son Franklin rebelled in his youth, getting arrested for drugs and drunk driving, while Billy continued his crusades. Only later did father and son reconcile, with Franklin eventually taking over the ministry. In his later years, Graham reflected openly on his regrets. He admitted political involvement had been his greatest mistake, saying he felt used by leaders for decades. He wished he had spent more time at home, saying he would trade every soul he ever reached to have been present for his family's milestones. His final book, Nearing Home, revealed that in 1949 he had almost abandoned his ministry entirely due to doubt, but chose faith instead. He wrote, "Success in ministry cost me success as a husband and father." When Ruth died in 2007, Billy was heartbroken. He spent her final days by her side, confessing the pain of years spent apart. At her funeral, he broke down mid-speech and could not finish. His final public appearance came in 2005, when he preached before 80,000 people from a wheelchair, his voice trembling but still full of conviction. Billy Graham died on February 21, 2018, at the age of 99. His funeral drew 4 U.S. presidents, the largest such gathering ever for a religious leader. His estate, worth $25 million, was mostly left to his ministry. In life, he preached to 215 million people in 185 countries, led 417 crusades, and shaped modern evangelism. Yet his legacy remains complex. A man who inspired faith in millions while struggling privately with doubt, pride, and regret. His children grew up without him, his marriage endured loneliness, and his political ties shadowed his ministry. Still, Graham's influence on Christianity and American culture endures.